gender ideology, or feminism, and what women need to know about it. Number one, for a feminist, women, a group of people, and feminism, gender or political ideology, are not two different things. They're not two different types of things, people versus political ideologies. For a feminist, women and feminism are the same thing. Discussion of one is discussion of the other. Criticism of one is criticism or hatred of the other. That's the first thing that women need to know about feminism. That a political ideology that, as a woman, you may or may not share in, is used to represent you, whether you associate with it or not. The second thing that women need to know about feminism is that feminists promote and encourage and wish to elevate and increase violence against women. I have for a number of years been talking about the changes to law and the effects that those changes will have on a society. Specifically, my argument goes like this. If you have a society composed of two groups of people, never mind who those groups are. For the moment, these are just two groups of people, Group A, Group B. Group A is protected by the law, that is, protected against violence by the law. It is illegal to commit an act of violence against a member of Group A, whether that's an assault or murder or rape or some other type of violent victimization. Group A is protected in law from violence. But Group A is not governed by those laws, at least not when it comes to acts of violence committed by members of that group against members of some other group. Group B, by contrast, is not effectively protected against violence. There may be laws in place, but they're selectively enforced, or they're worded in such a way as to make the legal protections unenforceable or ambiguous or impractical. Group B is not in law protected against violence, but Group B is controlled by the law, is governed by the law. So you have one group protected from violence by the law, but not governed, and another group governed but not protected by law. What will happen to that kind of a society? My prediction is that when you have that kind of a system, the group that is governed by law but not protected by it will begin to seek means of redress of grievance outside the framework of the law. If you're not protected by the law, why would you use the law to try to protect yourself when it's just a fruitless, pointless exercise? Especially against violent victimization from members of a group who are protected by the law but not governed by it. Now, this is a fairly straightforward prediction, and it doesn't matter which groups you're talking about here. Well, what we have in law now is an increasing state where men are governed by law but not protected, and women are protected by law but not governed. We see this manifested whenever women commit violent acts, kill their children or attempt to kill their boyfriends or ex-husbands, and when they are found to be guilty, when that happens, which is somewhat rare, the criminal interdiction, the criminal sentences are far less than they would be on the members of the group which are governed by law but not protected. So when this becomes known, when the culture that this is occurring in becomes aware of it, the group that is not protected against violence by members of a group who are protected but are not governed will begin to find their redress of grievance outside the framework of the law. Now, feminists, in particular, the squirrel-brained, the crazies, the mentally defective, the clown feminists, have seized on this prediction as if to say, well, this is a promise, this is the endorsement of, this is the promotion of violence against women. It's an assertion so bottomlessly stupid. Anyway, there's a group of feminists who, some in particular, who are claiming that this idea that I have, which is that if you continue to promote a system where you have unequal distribution of protection and governance in the law based on the group demographic that you're in, you'll have a rise in violent crime by the group who are not protected by law but are governed by it, against the group who are protected by law but not governed. This, it seems obvious. But the level of glee, the level of ecstatic glee by feminists in talking about this prediction as if it is a endorsement of violence. The reason I make this prediction, the reason I talk about it, is so that it can be avoided. But the level of glee when talking about this is such that I can't come to any conclusion except that they want that. They want to see that outcome because it serves their narrative. Because if members of the group that they are a part of are subject to, violent criminal victimization, because it's a society adapting to the fact that there is no legal framework for redress of grievance, so people are starting to use, vendetta. They're so ecstatic, they're so gleeful about that prospect, I can't imagine anything except that they are actually promoting that possibility. They want that violent outcome. Probably not at a personal level against themselves as individuals, but against members of their group. And this is something that, in the abstract, how do you convey this to women? I mean, there's an idea promoted that feminism and women are the same thing. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. That a political ideology is a group of people. That a group of people identifiable by some biological characteristic like sex is the same as a political ideology. It's a bottomlessly stupid idea. But what women really should be paying attention to is the fact that this political philosophy, this gender ideology, which claims to represent and to speak on behalf of women, is actually promoting violence against them.